May I have your attention, please? If you have not done so at this time, please sign in and please silence all cell phones and pagers. Thank you.
Good morning. This meeting of the Louisiana Tax Commission is hereby called to order. This meeting is being held at the offices of the Louisiana Tax Commission at 1051 North 3rd Street, Suite 225, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The date is Wednesday, April 3rd, 2019, and the time is 10:01 a.m. Please call the roll.
Chairman Shahardy.
Here.
Commissioner Wagasback.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Vercher.
Here.
Commissioner Wood.
Here.
5 present and a quorum.
Thank you. There being no old business to take up at this time, I'll accept a motion for the approval of the minutes of the meeting of March 27th, 2019.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher.
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback.
Yes.
Commissioner Wood.
Abstain.
Commissioner West.
Brother.
Yes. Okay. And Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. All right, we'll go ahead and begin our appeal hearings this morning. Only one item on the appeal docket will be heard this morning. That is item D, the appeal of Francesca L. Clessy versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review, docket number 18-22173-006. All of the other matters on the appeal docket for today have either been withdrawn or continued. I'll ask anyone who's planning on testifying this morning to please come forward to be sworn in as a witness.
Good morning. If you haven't done this before, let's swear all the witnesses in together. I'll administer the oath. You'll approach one of the 3 microphones. Affirm the oath by stating I do and state your name for the record. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Your name?
Arthur Laughlin.
Russell Amaraz, Orleans Parish Assessor's Office. I do. Sorry.
Mark Gillespie, Louisiana Tax Commission. I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Please take a seat. It is the Tax Commission's policy to accept all documents into the record that were timely pre-filed in accordance with the Commission's rules and regulations. This will be done at the conclusion of all hearings on today's docket. Accordingly, there is no need to formally offer or introduce the exhibits into the record during your appeal hearing. However, if you intend to object to the submission of any of the opposing parties' exhibits, you must notify the Commission at the start of your appeal hearing. As a reminder, this is an administrative hearing, and as such, the rules of evidence are relaxed. The Commission is inclined to review and consider all evidence submitted and to accept such evidence into the record. All right, this is the appeal of Francesca Clessy versus the Orleans Parish Board of Review. Mr. Laughlin, it's a taxpayer appeal, so you have the floor.
Yes, sir. At this time, my client had instructed me to withdraw her appeal.
Okay. And I think I can understand why she wants to withdraw it. Does the assessor's office object to the withdrawal? Or?
The Assessor's Office objected to the withdrawal.
I have a question for counsel. If it's a taxpayer appeal and they request a withdrawal, can the assessor oppose the withdrawal? We have to hear it? Jim? Just.
So we don't have rules specifically addressing the situation. Typically, we've handled it to y'all's discretion. Once an appeal is lodged, our constitutional mandate is to review the correctness of the assessment, regardless of who appealed the problem. So whether the party who appealed it wants to withdraw it, once the protest has been filed before us, it's in y'all's discretion to keep the appeal and review the correctness of the assessment, or to permit the withdrawal and dismiss the appeal. There's no.
Yeah, that's correct. In the absence of any rule, the statutes say that at least in general follow the same rules as civil courts do. And in a civil court case, if somebody files a case and the defendant acquires some kind of right by the virtue of that case being filed, then the plaintiff just can't dismiss it over the defendant's objection. So we've been kind of loose with that in the
So you're saying,
Allow an objection, and there have been other times where we did.
so are you saying that lawsuit is filed, district court, the plaintiff in the suit wants to go ahead and dismiss the suit, but for some reason the defendant is opposed to dismissing the suit? What would happen?
The general rule is that if the defendant has acquired some sort of right by virtue of what the plaintiff has filed, then he's entitled to go ahead and pursue that right. And I would imagine in this case that the assessor has some reason to want to pursue it, even though the complainant wants to dismiss the case. So I think at the very least you might want to hear what the assessor's reason.
Yeah, I mean, my thinking is that we hear from the taxpayer, from the property owner, Mr. Loughlin's representative. I'd like to hear from the assessor's office why they object to the dismissal, and then, of course, hear from our appraiser, and then either make a decision or.
Assessor's objected to it, but
But,
I think I know why. But
well, I think I know why too, but I'm not gonna assume that.
Get on the record.
Yeah, get it on the record so we have it. So,
And then you can make,
I think we can go ahead and hear testimony and still rule on the motion to dismiss at the appropriate time.
that's right, and then if you decide to deny the motion to dismiss, then you can rule on value.
Yeah, okay. All right, I think that's what we'll do, unless there's objection from the commissioners. Let's go forward and hear this, and we can address the issue of the dismissal afterwards. So, Mr. Loughlin, why don't you go ahead and, you requested a value of $396,500. Tell us what you think.
Okay, so when I initially filed to contest the value with the assessor's office, no one had shown up at the assessor's office for the board of review hearing so that the default would we had to defer to y'all and do an appeal through the state tax commission. At which time an appraisal was done that was unfavorable for my client. It's almost a double. It's significantly higher what the appraisal came back, and I spoke with the appraiser, and he explained to me because on the date of the appraisal or the effective date of January 1st, 2015, and I understand how y'all's policy is that you have to do a retrospective appraisal.
Well, it's the valuation, it's the values of the property as of January 1st, 2015.
Right.
But the property in the condition that it's in on the date of on the date that the property is actually being placed on the tax rolls.
Right, for the 2000.
Right, so I mean, for example, the house may be worth $100,000.
Mhm.
That valuation of $100,000 on January 1st is say correct, but the house is deteriorated for some reason to the point where it's almost a tear down. Then based on the $100,000, you'd have to depreciate it
Right.
to its current condition.
Yes, Chairman. And then Mr. Gillespie explained to me, because in this situation, we had the reverse happen. It was vacant in 2015, it was vacant in 2016, and then in 2017, a new construction was finished on that property. So at that time, after Mr. Gillespie explained it to me, he and I discussed that the best thing for my client at the time would be to withdraw the appeal.
Okay, so this is new construction?
It's new construction, and you can see on the assessor's website, it changed significantly from 2017 for that tax year, and then 2018 there was an increase because the new house was finished in 2017. So we thought that at the time that the value of the property, even though it was in the best possible condition for the area, did not meet with the other values of of like properties around it for the same thing. However, since we did get from the appraisal was unfavorable to us, that's when we decided to withdraw, and I withdrew through the Orleans Parish Assessor's Office website system where I got a confirmation. However, it was explained to me today and last night in an email that it has to go through y'all's system to be in effect. And that's why I'm here today.
Is someone living there now?
Yes, sir.
What was the total construction cost?
I don't have that data for you, sir. I do apologize.
Do you have the tax assessor data that you said that showed on the website there was an increase?
I can look it up for you right now.
No, I was just wondering if that was part of your evidence that you were bringing.
Well, you said it was an increase, but you also said it was a confirmation of withdrawal.
Well, no, I have two things. So on the forgive me, this is my first time before y'all. On the assessor's website, you can see based off of the inside of this quad when the house was finished and when the new value of the house was done. So when I spoke to Mr. Gillespie about his appraisal, he explained to me the rules that he has to give a value of what the house would have been valued in 2015. And then after he explained it to me, I said he and I discussed that the best thing would be for us to withdraw. So I didn't believe that I needed to bring any evidence to y'all today if I was withdrawing the appeal.
Okay, his value in 2015 versus the value in 2017.
Yes.
You're
So-
saying the property decreased in value?
No, it increased because they built a new residence on the
Something there don't make very much
Well,
sense. I may be missing something.
I apologize if I'm unclear, sir.
I mean, we're not getting any information to help us, is what the problem is. Let me ask Mr. Alvarez. The assessor's office valued the property at $556,400.
Correct. And I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe that was due to a valuation based on old information in our system and not based on the current house and the newly constructed house. I don't know for sure, but that's my own speculation as to what happened.
So do you object to your current value? As you
We
said?
think that the tax commission staff appraiser pointed out a gross undervaluing of this property, and that's why we objected to this withdrawal of the appeal. We did go to the board of review. We were there. We did not file this appeal to the tax commission. That was the taxpayer. When they received the valuation, because the board of review gives every taxpayer who files an appeal a value. If they disagree with that value, then it goes on to the tax commission for a formal appeal. So we were there. The board of review issued a valuation. The taxpayer disagreed with that appraisal or the value provided by the BOR. Subsequently found the appraisal was going to be a lot higher based on staff's appraisal, decided to withdraw. We are objecting to the withdrawal because we feel that the valuation on our system is based on old information, not current information, and the staff, Mr. Gillespie's appraisal shows an undervalue of the property in our system.
When was that area last revalued by Orleans Parish?
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I hate to tell you an actual year. Within the last 4 years.
The issue, my concern is if we make an adjustment to bring it current, are we going to create a uniformity issue with the neighbors? Or are we going to cause an imbalance that causes another issue?
No,
create another
because
issue?
Mr. Gillespie's value is a retrospective appraisal value as what the property should have been worth on 1/1/15. The property next door is over $900,000. The property, couple of houses down, sold for $800,000. So the $500,000 is a uniformity issue with the surrounding properties.
Did you bring any of that information?
I didn't
with
bring
you?
any of that information because we agree with staff's appraisal, so we did not provide any other documentation.
Mr. Laughlin, why do you think that the Board of Review didn't have representation by the tax assessor? Were you there?
Yes, ma'am. I was there. That particular day, I had quite a number of cases before the Board of Review. So what they arrange them all for me to be together. The person assigned to my case was not present. Someone else filled in for them, and they apologized and said, "I'm sorry, I have no information. This is not my case." So at which time, at the Board of Review hearing, me and the person managing the hearing said, we're going to have to go to the next level because we have no. Whereas I won a couple of my cases that day at the Board of Review, they agreed to lower the values. And if you look at the assessor's own data, it cannot be incorrect, because if the assessor went out in 2015 to assess that area, his records show that the land was vacant. In 2016, his records show the land is vacant. The house was finished 2017. That's when the new assessment of $500,000 was for the building. Now, I understand that y'all's office finds a different value, and I don't wish to dispute that. We just wanted to withdraw our claim at this time.
Mr. Alvarez,
Yes, sir.
when your office prepares for the Board of Review hearings,
Mhm.
I mean, I'm sure you look more closely at the property and surrounding property.
Yes, sir, we do. And it's
So
a
how, I mean, you mentioned that it was a gross error by your office. So wouldn't that gross error have been caught at the time of the Board of Review, your review of your own records?
Yes. So it would have. And it is unfortunately, it is a he said, she said. I dispute the taxpayer's assessment or the statement that we were not there. Our appraisers were there. If I remember correctly, Mr. Jim Makita was the deputy assessor assigned to these cases, and it was Mr. Laughlin who decided that he was going to appeal these to the Tax Commission. So it would not have been our intent to appeal to the Tax Commission. We would have met with the taxpayer and the Board of Review appraiser. They would have done an appraisal on the property and then would have issued a verdict whenever the city council ruled on it. They wouldn't have given them any values or said you won, you lost on that day, because they don't have the authority to. It has to go before the city council, who has to vote on it. So if they tell them anything during that hearing, they're misrepresenting their authority.
Right.
Mr. Laughlin, what do you believe this property's worth?
I believe this property was worth about, at the time, $450,000.
What do you think it's worth right now?
Oh, right now, I would say, especially since we're going into a new year, I think the house is worth probably $1 million with the land in consideration for next year, the current status. Because I'm not gonna argue with Mr. Gillespie's his appraisal of the property, but I would like to point out, if I may, I believe Mr. Alvarez has confused me with my father. We both do this.
Yes.
Now, my father did walk in to his meeting because he told me, he goes, I said, just throw them all to the state. Whereas we discussed each one.
As far as this commission is concerned, what happened at the Board of Review is no never mind in the sense, other than caring about what the decision of the Board of Review was, how they got there, what they did, and usually there's no evidence of how they got there. Normally it's just a number is all we get.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, whether you agreed or they agreed or he, she, or it agreed, it's whatever comes up from the Board of Review. So we're going to have a spat about who said what or what have you. That's not really relevant to where we're at. You see, it's what is the property worth today based upon the value of real estate as of January 1st of 2015, and the condition that the property is in. So if the property, if the property's worth $1 million today, on today's standards, we would not be looking at it on today's standards. We'd be saying, what would it be worth using January 1st, 2015 values, which means that if it's worth $1 million today, maybe 4 years ago it might have been worth $900,000 or some other number. So it's not what it's worth today. It's what is that property worth based upon the January 1, 2015 valuation date and the condition that the property is in today. So that's where
So
we're at.
is your argument that we should just consider it the land value only as a 1/115?
No, sir. That
Okay.
was just that was a point that Mr. Gillespie explained to me because I was just confused when I saw that the effective date of his appraisal. But he explained to me that it would be the current house if it existed
Okay, gotcha.
at
All right.
that time.
We're clear on
And-
that. Good.
And what our point was, we were looking for, like you said before, we were looking for uniformity. It's like, based off the other houses in this area, it's a great area of the city. It's a high value probably. But what my confusion towards Mr. Alvarez's objection is they went out and reassessed the place once the new house was built. How could it be a gross error on their part if they went out 2 years ago and revalued the property? I think it's a punitive measure. I believe that they don't like taxpayers or people like me who are representing their taxpayers who want their fair day in court to say, I just don't think this is fair. And when we know that we're going to lose and we want to back out of the situation, it's just a chance for them to punish my client for trying to see if his valuation was fair. Now, next year, they're going to they have the opportunity to raise the value, and if on the city's hand they claim that it was a gross error or undervalue on that, I can't lend any credence to it if you see on their own records that they raised the value of the property from 0 to over $500,000 2 years ago.
Okay.
From 0?
Well, it was the building value,
improvement,
the
right?
only.
It was
Land
land only for a year, and then the house was finished, and then for the 2017 tax year, there's a new value, and then for that same value was there in 2018, and then I contested it in 2019, and now I just feel that I don't understand how it could be gross undervalue on their part, because when they went out and did it.
Mr. Alvarez, the other thing that concerns me is, and I could be wrong, is the land values.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The land values seem to be
Way
extraordinarily low
Okay.
on this particular piece of property. I don't know about the adjacent properties, but it's a value of $14,900 on land.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the current value by the assessor's office of $556,400, I mean, what is that? That's less than 10%, less than 5%, might be 2%. I mean,
Well, I think that
it's
also
unusual to see a land value only 2%, let's say, of the value of the whole property, and particularly if the property is worth more in the $900,000 range, that makes it even more glaring
Yeah.
on the
Yes.
land value.
Less than 2%.
Yes, I think that's kind of my point. There was a gross undervaluing of this property, land, building, the whole shebang, because this property sits very, I want to say a few houses off, or parcels off of Esplanade, very close to the Bayou St. John area. It's one of the most desirable areas in this assessment district of that particular neighborhood. The valuation, I don't know the particulars because I did not value the property, but as my understanding is told by my superiors that this property was revalued and it was using older information in our system, and that's where that value came from.
Would you suggest that the surrounding houses and properties in that area now are correctly valued by the assessor's office? If we were to do our research today?
Yeah, I would suggest that
Including the
would be the
land?
case. It should be the case.
So would it be out of line for us to take a pause on this one and do some further
Well,
work on our part?
Well,
or-
I think, I mean, I want to hear from Mr. Gillespie,
Yeah.
but,
I
you know,
mean,
I'm
after-
thinking we need to
I
maybe
would
take
like
this
to
under
ask Mr.
advisement.
Alvarez one question, though.
Sure.
Okay.
Right, if you, it appears that you agree with the tax commission's appraisal,
Yes.
with the overall value,
Yes, sir.
but you think the land is undervalued. Can you redistribute the $900,000 for us then?
Sure, I don't have what the current neighborhood.
I mean, if
land
we're
rates
gonna,
are-
if we're gonna look at that, I think it would be good to look at it in that perspective, because the land value was not, appealed. So we're really
Yeah.
kinda talking apples and oranges here.
'Cause I don't know, I don't have the actual rates in front of me, but that land rate should be somewhere in the $20 to $35 a square foot range for that neighborhood. I don't know the exact value because
Well, maybe
I
we can
wasn't
get some
prepared
of
to
this
talk about-
information from Mr. Gillespie. We hadn't heard
Okay.
from him.
Yeah,
but
well, let's hear what
I
Mr.
think
Gillespie
he
has to
has a
say.
little bit of that information.
Let's see, get to the land in just a second. Let me circle that, because I have the land size here. We'll figure that out. But of course, I did inspect the property located at 2925 LePage. It's located in the Esplanade Triangle, the Faubourg, St. John area, which has there's been significant gentrification in that area and renovation, even, of course, during the 1/1/15 timeframe, which is our effective date. It's a 3,816 square foot, two-story property. As you know, it was newly constructed in 2016. I used 3 sales that were located within the general area, essentially within 2/10 of a mile. Made the appropriate adjustments in order to recognize the subject in roughly 2 to 1% adjustments, and came to a value of $900,000. Now, the land value was not disputed, so let's see, that's 14,900. The land size,
It's 4960.
yes, there.
4960.
Let's see. So this.
At $20, it's 99,200. I don't know if that's the
Okay.
correct.
I'm not
dollar
sure that,
value.
I don't do the land in the office, so I don't know the
Okay.
exact number, but I know that's closer to where it should be, in that range. I could call one of my
I can even
colleagues.
see where
if
it's
you-
worth more than that, you know.
It's definitely worth more than $2 a square
Yeah.
foot.
yeah,
It's
I
a
mean,
highly desirable area, no question about it. It's growing.
I think we have some checking we need to do. Does anybody have any other questions, or? I'd like to go ahead, I'd like to take this one under advisement, if that's okay with commissioners.
That's your motion?
And, yeah, I'd make the motion that we take this matter under advisement. We have some more research we need to do.
I
And,
second that.
Okay.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahar.
Yes. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The Tax Commission hereby accepts all pre-filed documents and oral testimony into the record as Taxpayer Exhibit 1 in Globo, Assessor Exhibit 1 in Globo, and Louisiana Tax Commission Staff Appraiser Exhibit 1 in Globo for the appeal hearing conducted today. And as I mentioned earlier, the other appeals on the docket today were either settled or have been withdrawn or continued. In particular, item A on the appeal docket has specifically been continued. We'll now consider change orders.
Good morning, Phyllis King, Louisiana Tax Commission. We do have a total of 537 change orders for today's meeting. Staff has reviewed the change orders and recommends that the Commission approve 512, place 24 in pending status for further review, and deny 1.
And what's the reason for the denial?
The denial is actually a request from the assessor's office. So there was an error. When they went back and realized there was an error, and so they requested we deny it so they could go in and fix it and resubmit it.
Okay, thank you. Are you ready for a motion,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman? I would move that we accept the staff recommendations and approve 512 change orders, place 24 on pending status, and to deny 1.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. We'll now consider the prior pending change orders.
Again, Phyllis King, we have a total of 36 pending change orders. Staff, after review, has recommending to approve 17 and to deny one of those. And that one also is a recommendation from the assessors, a request from the assessor to deny after looking at the change order further.
So excuse me, we have 36 pending change orders. Staff is recommending we approve 17 of those.
Deny one, and that leaves
18
still 18.
still pending.
Yes.
I'll make a motion with respect to the prior pending change orders. Of the 36, we approve 17, deny 1, and keep 18 in pending status.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. What's the, just a curiosity, from the time the assessor submits a request for a change order, how quickly does it make our agenda, make the docket here for our approval or denial?
We pull change orders every Monday, and we pull them through the previous Friday. So
Okay.
anything they've submitted for that past
So we're
week
pretty current.
should come to you that Wednesday. Yes, sir.
So the assessor submits it by Friday. That following Wednesday, it should be,
That's
barring
correct.
unusual circumstances, it should be here for our review.
That's correct. And if we don't have a meeting, of course, we don't have a meeting one week, we still pull them, go ahead and do the review. And that's why you'll see sometimes we'll have change order 1, change order 2,
Right.
for which week that is for that next meeting coming up.
But we're about as up to date on it as we can be.
Yes, sir.
I mean, we
believe
couldn't be,
we
the only way
are.
we'd be more up to date on it
It was,
is if we met at 5 o'clock on Friday to
Correct.
approve. Okay, all right. All right, great. Thank you on that. Next item on the agenda is the consideration of tax sale cancellations.
Tanisha Malvo on behalf of the Louisiana Tax Commission. Today we have one request for tax sale cancellation from Calcasieu Parish. The reason for the cancellation is due to clerical error. Staff requests approval of this tax sale cancellation.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept staff recommendations and approve the one tax sale cancellation as presented.
I'd second that.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. All right, the next item on the agenda is we will consider 2 requests for tax tax refunds paid in error. Mr. Hoffman?
Good morning, Commissioners. Drew Hoffman, Council of Louisiana Tax Commission. As the Chairman just pointed out, we have 2 refund requests on the docket this morning. We'll take them each in turn. The first one is from Ascension Parish, Emil Scott. Let me get to my notes here. This one's pretty straightforward. Y'all have heard refund requests like this one before. Taxpayer seeks a refund of taxes paid in 2016, 17, and 18 for a lighting district fee that was paid on residential property. The assessor or the taxpayer discovered that the residence had been demolished prior to 2016, and therefore the fee should never have been levied and never paid. Refund request was sent to the assessor's office, who agrees with the refund request and has asked us to approve the request. So of course, based on the review of the submission, my recommendation is to agree with the assessor and approve the refund request. Any questions?
And the statute allows for a refund even of a fee that's paid in error?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. A levied in error in this
Right.
case?
Yes.
Okay. Have any questions? Well, I'll make a motion that we approve the refund of taxes paid in error in Ascension Parish by Mr. Emil Scott.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. We have a second request.
The second refund request on the docket this morning is from St. Tammany Parish, the taxpayers' Warehouse District Property Rental LLC. The taxpayer seeks a refund of taxes paid for the 2013 tax year. The request was forwarded to the assessor's office, who has responded that we should deny the request. It appears, based on the information provided by the assessor, that there was a dual assessment situation, and the assessor has approved change orders that would result in refunds for the 2014, 15, and 16 tax year. That policy, the assessor says, is consistent with the statute and their office policy. Of course, as you know, the refund statute does not allow us to approve a refund request if the assessor does not agree with it. So therefore, my recommendation would be to deny the refund request on the basis the assessor indicated that we should deny the request.
Make a motion.
Yes, please.
With respect to the refund request from St. Tammany Parish as Warehouse District Property Rental LLC, because the assessor has denied that refund, my motion is to deny such a refund as well.
Second.
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes. All right, there being no other matters to come before the commission at this time, I will accept the motion to adjourn.
So
So-
moved.
Second?
Commissioner Vercher,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagasback,
Yes.
Commissioner Wood,
Yes.
Commissioner West,
Yes.
and Chairman Shahardy.
Yes.